I just went and invested a lot of money into mastering my craft so that it doesn't matter what type of avatars on the other side of the phone or the other side of the screen. I can change their life and I can get them to see a bigger version of themselves and go out there and execute it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real Estate. I'm your co-host, Dan Breezy, and today, Devin DiNofa is joining us on the show. He has a top real estate sales team across New Jersey with his wife, Brittany DiNofa. He's also a high-performance coach where he runs a community focused on personal and professional development. With that said, Devin, welcome to the show.
Dan, thank you so much for having me on here, man. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I love your last name. I got to tell you that, Breezy. Love that.
Yeah, it's served me well. I don't know if you knew I had a snowboarding career, and the last name always rung well, being a snowboarder. So I appreciate that.
Love it.
Yeah, kicking it off here, maybe can you share a little bit about your early days before diving into real estate? Because you have a real estate business you've owned for 11 years now. What were you doing prior to real estate?
I started my, I guess you'd say, professional career in the real estate business. Or sorry, the restaurant business. I mean, I don't have enough time to go through my whole life story in here, but ideally I was going to college to play football. That was the goal and dream. Got kicked off the team my senior year, ultimately as the captain, ultimately because I was content and I wasn't doing the right things. I wasn't trying my hardest. Had a whole new coaching staff came in. They made the example out of me to show their leadership and hold myself accountable to it now. But for the most part, I believe God's never wrong with how he takes my path, even if I don't understand it at the moment. So when I realized that, football wasn't going to be something at that moment that I was going to pursue, I didn't have a college degree and I definitely didn't have the grades to get in college. So then I went into the restaurant business and very quickly came up through the ranks of the restaurant business. I was like, man, nobody in my family ever made six figures. And, I was like, man, always knew I wanted to make a lot of money. I always wanted to build an incredible life to where, we could do what we wanted, take vacations and, just not like struggle to say the least and to live a nice life. My parents, they set me up to where they gave me everything I needed, but not necessarily if it was anything extra, anything more expensive. My mom always says, son, you better get a good job with your expensive taste. So I always knew I wanted a career that paid a lot of money, that paid well, and I also wanted to be happy. So got into the real estate business, moved up very quickly. I thought that was what I was going to do. I was like, man, I can make six figures in this business without a college degree. All I need to do is bust my ass, and that's what I did. Became the youngest kitchen manager in a company called Carrabba's Italian Grill, a national company. Then became the youngest front of house manager and did something stupid again, messing around with girls. It's a 21-year-old manager. So bang, I got fired from that career too, man. So as my college football went down the tubes, lost my job thinking that I was going to be a GM of a restaurant. But the bottom line was my gut was telling me, man, working nights, weekends, I was always jealous of the people that could eat dinner at 5 o'clock with their families and holidays and being able to have off with your family. So there was always something in me that said that there's more to life than this and I can make more than this. But I felt like God just had to take me out of there because if it wasn't something drastic that happened, I probably would have maybe stayed in my comfort zone and still tried to stay within that restaurant business. But anyway, that happened to me. That happened for me. And then to speed everything up, next thing you know, I was like, I saw the show $1 Million Listing. Even though some people may say it's cheesy and scripted now, at some point that casted a vision for me when I was younger. And I got into the pizza business at the time, being a partner in the pizza business, got my license at the same time. And then realized I was like, you know what? Like, this is something that I could see me doing, man. Selling houses, selling lifestyles, showing people houses. I don't need a college degree. I'm looking at these guys. They're living big lives. They're living big lives. They have beautiful cars, stuff like that. I was like, this is it. This is my ticket. So ever since I was motivated by that show, I was like, you know what? This is going to be the path. And then that's how I got into the real estate business. And there was a few other things prior to that, but I just want to speed it up. Got into the real estate business there. And then, just fell in love with it. Just fell in love with the career that the harder I work, the more money I can make. And then, the one thing that I realized that really expedited my growth is my commitment to my personal development. And that led me to realizing that the more I focus on my mental and my physical and educating myself, motivating myself through watching personal development videos, reading, going all in on coaching, then everything changed for me. And then that kind of helped me grow to our real estate company to what it is now. I'm eventually got in business with my wife, who's a phenomenal partner of my business, but also a phenomenal wife. God blessed me with somebody who it's a lot of this is me and her. It's not just me. So we work very well together. We built an incredible company together. Now, with we actually merged and partnered with my partner Gaurav Gambhir, TCS Group of Philadelphia. So collectively, we are the team that does the most amount of business on both sides of the bridge, Philadelphia and New Jersey. I had a vision a long time ago to be the name for both Philadelphia and New Jersey real estate, and it's just crazy how it all worked out. To now we are the company that does the most real estate sales on both sides of the bridge in residential real estate. So that's kind of where we're at to speed it up now. So we got around 17 agents on our Jersey team. We have around 50 on our Philly team, and consistently trying to grow with talent and pour in and grow other individuals and be in business with talent. So
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. So there's a couple things you said there that kind of caught my attention. You said when you were kicked off the football team, you thought to yourself, God has something bigger for me. And it gave you, it sounds like, a sense of calmness and, hey, this is maybe the right way to go. Is that what you were saying, or how do you look at that?
So at that time, like to be fair, I've always believed in God. You know what I mean? It wasn't the relationship that I have now with God, but I've always believed in God. My parents always said everything happens for a reason. I was at that time, I was destroyed, man. Football was my life. That was like the thing where I was going to be able to brag about playing college football, showing my mom and dad that I got into college. I'm playing full. That was going to be my big achievement. And when that happened, I was destroyed. And there was this powerful now I'm more mature in my faith and I have a whole different relationship with God, and that's a topic for another discussion. But he was the one who's done all this in my life. And I remember this line that Steve Jobs says, you can never connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. Right. And when you look back in your life, I just see the way God's worked in my life. And at that time, I was, and especially that time, dude, I was 16, 17-year-old captain of a football team, hothead. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to hear nothing at that time, but I just I was consistently pulled by a greater vision for my life. So I was confident that I would find another way, another path to build a successful life. And I'm confident that I was never going to quit trying to find that path and continue to march forward no matter what happens. And then as I grew older, more mature, then I realized that not only was God a part of that, but God was next to me, and I got to do this with God and consistently have those conversations with God to get me through a lot of these things as I shoot for the moon with all of my goals and dreams with life.
Yeah, what I like about that is whether you believe in God or just something bigger than yourself, when challenges happen, you've got something to pull you through, right? There's something that you can lean on, if you will, to keep you going. And I think that's something that if you're an entrepreneur and you've been in business long enough, that lean on whatever that may be is going to be super powerful. So I like that you said that, and I think it's something to think about for folks that are listening in, is have something bigger than you that's worth going after or pushing you, continue to push you if things and when things start to take a left turn when you're expecting it to go right. So I
Yeah.
love that. And then you said you wanted to be named, I think, the top company for Philadelphia and Jersey. First of all, what was the goal there? And then why that goal specifically?
Yeah. So where I'm located, an area called, well, one, half of my life I lived in Philadelphia. And then right before high school, my family, my neighborhood was getting very bad. My dad had a goal to move us to New Jersey. And right before high school, I moved to New Jersey. So the area where I lived was right over the bridge, right? So a lot of times, as I started getting my real estate career up and running, you're working with buyers and sellers on Philly and South Jersey, and me and my wife created this logo where it was like the bridge that gets you from Philly to Jersey. And that was the vision, right? Being the name, the brand that it didn't matter if you were in Philly or Jersey, reach out to them because they can service both sides of the bridge. You didn't have to go to two complete different companies. And that was the vision. Again, just shooting big, man. It's just like, just how can I create this to be a massive vision. And Dan, to hit on one of the things that you just talked about, one of the things, whether it's my coaching clients or real estate agents who I help and coach, or people I'm just trying to help, you know, it's having vertical solutions vertical solutions to horizontal problems, right? And to your point, man, there's going to be times when, your partner can't help you, your mother, your father can't get you through this, right? Your coach can't get you through this, your therapist can't get you through this. It's just too tough, right? You're going to need something bigger than what's down here to pull you through, to give you the faith, to keep you marching forward, to give you something to believe in. You know what I mean? And that's so important to what you were just hitting on, man, because I had to get down on my knees and have that conversation daily, man, where we're trying to go, when we're thinking big, and life comes back and smacks us down, when we have doubt, when something goes wrong with a business or a deal, sometimes as an entrepreneur, sometimes it's just dragging through the mud to get to the other side, to where you can start walking again and start running again. So you need that.
Yeah, I hear you there. So with that, you're committed to personal development and you're focused more on your mental game, physical fitness, reading, coaching. Everything changed there. What was the linchpin piece where you were like, hey, I need to go down this path, or what started all that for you?
Great question. Yeah. So I've always had an exercise routine. Like, I've always went to the gym, which has been crucial because that was one of the foundational pieces that got me through a lot of things, that got me through getting kicked off the team as the captain of my football team with letters going to college, that got me through getting fired from what I thought was going to be the career the rest of my life. I mean, that was an anchor that kept me sane versus just completely going off the rails. So I always had health and fitness in my life, thankfully, from being 5 years old, always in sports, thanks to my mom. But there was a time when I was in the gym, and this was right in the beginning of my real estate career. And, I was listening at that point, I was going to YouTube and listening, some hip hop playlist or whatever. Next thing you know, I came across in the shuffle a YouTube clip of a guy named E.T. the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas. And I accidentally listened to a video of him preaching "When You Want It As Bad As You Want to Breathe," that whole speech. And I've never heard a motivational speaker at this time, man. I was like, this is incredible, man. Coming up from sports, it sounds like a coach. Like, damn, man, if I heard this every single day, I'd be fired up. I would operate at a much higher frequency every day if I was hearing stuff like this. Much more confidence, much more energy, much more relentlessness. So once I heard that, I was like, man, then next thing you know, I'm like starting to listen more and more of him. And then YouTube starts kicking me to all these other different speakers. And then I'm all in on, like, every day I'm in the gym now, listening to Tony Robbins, listening to videos that are firing me up, motivate me. Next thing you know, I'm having a much bigger vision for my business. I'm more excited about my business, having a much bigger vision for my life, for my physical fitness. And then that's when I just started going all in that personal development journey. And then as I was growing my real estate business, I learned, um, that I had to develop a very simple plan for me to follow, um, so I can stay on the course and stay on the path to consistently grow my business. And at the time, I didn't have thousands of marketing dollars, right? I couldn't rely on dumping thousands of dollars a month into Zillow, Realtor.com, marketing, all that stuff, right? I had to, all right, what doesn't cost a lot of money where I can get clients and I can be seen and I can market and promote. So I started seeing a lot of growth very early, and I started getting the attention of a lot of other realtors in my market center. And then, I developed a weekly planner from all the trainings that I've learned, whether it's in real estate or any other trainings that I've been through. And I was like, oh, what works? Like, out of all these different things, what do I find that's really working for me right now? And how can I put it into a very simple planner? Because one, I knew that I needed things to be simple for me to execute. And as I went down and started studying coaching and going all in on investing in myself with coaching, being coached by some of the greatest world thought leaders, Dave Meltzer, in the world, then I started realizing, man, the real driver for success with coaching or self-mastery is making things simple. So I developed a very simple blueprint that people can follow weekly. Then when my market centers, hey, can you come in and teach this? Every time I would speak this, I'd see all their eyes like out of their head. They're like, dude, then people will come to me like, listen, man, I know you're doing this real estate stuff, but you need to consider this like you are like when you speak, you get attention. Like this is the gift that you have to speak life into people, to motivate people, to inspire people, to get them taking action on things that they're not taking action on. And then through this whole self-development journey, I learned about coaches in general. Then Keller Williams. When I switched companies, they were talking to me about being a MAPS coach. And I was hiring coaches there. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this thing on my own. Like, this is something that I feel God's gifted me to do. And I just want to go all in on this. So then, as I was coaching, I went and started investing into coaching. I then a whole nother story, which a story for another day, eventually led to being in Dave Meltzer's life. And then he's been coaching me for years, teaching me how to be the best coach that I can possibly be. And then I went through I just went and invested a lot of money into mastering my craft so that it doesn't matter what type of avatars on the other side of the phone or the other side of the screen. I can change their life and I can get them to see a bigger version of themselves and go out there and execute it with habits, rituals, and routines every day that can keep them focused on going down that path. I realized how much self-development was changing my life every single day. I started my day off not just going to the gym, having life spoken into me every day via YouTube. And then I realized how everything was changing for me in my activities, the action that I was taking, the goals were changing in my business. Then I started changing my content on social media. Then everybody started reaching. That helped grow my business. People started looking at me, messaging me, saying, thank you, dude. You're helping me. You're inspiring me. Then that helped grow my brand to elevate my business a lot more. And then that made it so much easier over the years when everybody was watching me run the play. Then when I opened up my Harvest Performance Coaching community, it helped me organically grow that community exponentially because I don't put any marketing dollars. I don't do ClickFunnels, none of that stuff into grow my performance coaching community. These are all organic people that follow me, people that see me, seen what I've done. These are referrals from people in the community that have been impacted, whether it's mentally, physically, lost over 50 pounds, quadrupled their business, all that stuff. So it's really opened up the gates for me to see a bigger version of myself than I've never seen before. Just because growing up, I never had those high level examples, people doing life at these high levels. You know, I was never surrounded by them people. It really made me cast a bigger vision.
That's awesome, dude. I love that you shared that. You know, one thing that comes to my mind when I hear you talk is a quote where it says, the problem is you and the solution is you. And I love that idea right there because that puts all of the control in me. You know, like there's no one I need to be blaming and no scenarios that I need to go and point fingers at. The problem's you, the solution's you. So you can, I mean, what you're talking about here is you can create anything if you know what to do, know how to think, and know how to be. And you mentioned David Meltzer. We've actually had him on our show. He was a fantastic episode. It was a short episode. I've been on one of his little shows too. It was great. But if you could share, you know, what are some rituals or what are some habits that have moved the needle in your life for our listeners, if they're listening in, what are some things that you could offer them to really help them right now?
Yeah. All right. So I'll give you one thing that I created to no matter where you're at in your life, this is a recipe or a play that you can run to level up no matter where you're at, right? I call it the C4 method, which I'm going to go into that next. But for the most part, the basic habits and rituals, man, are, you know, when you wake up in the morning, and again, this could sound cheesy. You may hear it from a lot of other people, but the things that are easy to do are also the things that are easy not to do. And a lot of times it's simple things that can change your life done consistently, right? So one of the big things that you know, activity, getting active in the morning, starting your day off with an amazing morning routine. You got to build your highest and best self up in the morning to give it to the world, to show up at a higher frequency to the people who follow you on social media, to your family, to the people at work, to your time management, right? So start getting those wins and building up that momentum and put on your mental and physical body armor early in the morning through a workout, through meditation, through prayer, through a walk. I would definitely suggest doing something active, whether it's a walk, going to the gym, having a physical routine. That to me, doing something physical can elevate you past a lot of things and it can immediately change your state. That's the bottom line, right? The next thing, the biggest thing that Dave taught me is to just try, and again, it's common, right? People hear it all the time, but most people still don't execute it. It's just operating with gratitude. You know what I mean? Like every day, telling yourself what you're grateful for. I've sat in on tons of high level masterminds, I'm talking. And I've had people who own 9-figure companies sit and speak. And Dave was there as a speaker, and somebody said, listen, man, out of all the incredible things that you can hear Dave talk about, the one thing that I've done that changed my life the most is every day telling myself something that I'm grateful for. And it was like the 30-day gratitude challenge. And again, what you appreciate appreciates, man. And the energy, paying more attention to your frequency and energy levels can also change the game for you. So a physical fitness routine every single day. For me also, I'm a big faith guy. Prayer is very important to me every day. Also, visualizing how you want your day, like what goals do you want to accomplish throughout your day, seeing it happen before it actually does. So, I'm a big fan of habit stacking so I can do all my rituals and routines. So, when I'm walking my dog, I'm saying my prayers at the same time. And when I'm saying my prayer, I talk to God and tell him everything that I'm thankful for that he's blessed me with today. Right. So I'm practicing gratitude. I'm practicing prayer. I get my gym exercise early in the morning, right? And that helps me. And by the way, be the source of what you seek. When you're helping other people, your frequency will go up. So as I'm in the gym, I like to post an follow me on Instagram, Devin underscore DiNofa, DVIN underscore DINOF as in Frank A. I'll post in my stories something that I heard that can help somebody. My consistency on social media organically holds people accountable to then go and be at the gym early, right? So the physical fitness routine, the mental fitness routine, gratitude, and every day casting the vision and giving yourself those affirmations of what do you want to do today? And affirmations sound cheesy. You got to back it up with action. There's no doubt about that. But there is power in words. Those are 3 things right there that can change your life. An active physical routine, hitting that gym early in the morning, gratitude and prayer every single day, and running through what an amazing day of accomplishments look like and think big. You closing the sale, you getting the call for new business. That person that maybe you had an argument, calling an apology. I mean, whatever it is, your big goals, see them happen before you start your day. Put that energy out there. Energy is powerful too. That's a whole nother game to really dig deep in. And I got that whole run the wins of your day through before it actually happens through somebody that a lot of people heard about, Tony Robbins, right? That's part of his priming routine. So if you don't believe me, I'm sure a lot of you may believe in Tony Robbins. So I'm like, if these guys are doing it, why am I going to sit here and resist it? Let me practice what the most elite performers in the world are doing. That's how simple it is.
I love that. The gym routine. I've heard this stat where flexing your muscles is one of the best ways to combat and push away depression and just low energy, bringing your energy level up, changing your set point. I couldn't agree with that more. And I also love the piece of gratitude. If you can be in the state of gratitude more, it does something. I can't say exactly what it does, other than it brings your energy to a different place, and you start to attract. Um,
Listen, you can't be grateful. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time.
yeah,
My faith guys and girls, you can't worship and worry at the same time. They can't live in the same house.
yeah, yeah, and the piece on visualization. I mean, I can attest to that. Is so much in my life, and in being in sports as a snowboarder, you'd be working on learning a trick, and as you're working on learning that trick, you ride throughout the day all day long. But man, when you get in bed at night and you see it in your mind's eye, and you can clearly see it in your mind's eye, something's happening. I don't know exactly what it is, but you go out the next day and you've leveled up. You significantly are riding at a higher level, and you don't need to be on the court every single day, or on the field, or on the
Yep.
slope every day. You're actually learning as you're going. So I think that the visualization piece, it's not something that is talked about all the time, but I think it's something that should be on your mind all the time when you're going after a goal or something you haven't
Yep.
done yet. So that's amazing.
Dan, I've had the performance coach of the New York Yankees. One of the years they won the World Series, he came in and he talked about like baseball players. They would lay like I forget the name of the one guy for the Yankees, but before the game start, he'd be laying, he'd close his eyes, and Dana Cavaliers was his name. He's like, what are you doing? Talking to the player. He's like, I'm visualizing, right? And golfers, football players, like you go through and visualize the perfect pass, visualize the perfect pitch, visualize you nailing that jump on the snowboard, right? And what happens is when you consistently run it through your mind, I'm pretty sure somebody's meant, I forget who said this, like scientifically, like your mind, you will brainwash your mind to where it doesn't even know that you're physically not there yet, but you're just training your mind to run that through your head. So visualization, you having that, you nailing that sales call, you nailing that workout before you wake up in the morning, right? Let's just say you have a tough time waking up early, you're trying to get a new routine going. Before you go to bed, visualize you waking up early with no problems at all, and you fired up to get to the gym before the sun comes up. You beating the sun, right? Visualize that. I promise you, the next day you will wake up like you already subconsciously are pretty much controlling what's going to happen. And as crazy as that sounds, but visualization is it's a very powerful tool, man. So Dan, you're spot on. It's not talked about enough, but on the professional athlete levels, when you talk to the performance coaches, so many people like that's their secret is the visualization.
Yeah, yeah. One last piece I'll share on visualization is I remember as I was coming up and learning to be a level of professional snowboarder, I finally got to the place where I was rolling around with a bunch of other guys who were pro snowboarders, and I realized the separator between the guys who were pros and the other people who didn't quite make it was this all-out obsession, and that obsession created the visualization of always being on your mind. So, going back to some other stuff that would be worth considering is just your desire. How bad do you want something to come to fruition? How bad do you want it to come to reality? And if that desire is strong enough, your mind will be consumed by it. And as you be consumed and go down this path, nothing can really stop you from achieving whatever that goal may be. So, just a little point I wanted to add on visualization, just having it in your brain. And there were times in the summer where you'd learn snowboarding tricks. You'd go out to the hill and you'd try it first time and you'd do it perfect. And people would be like, how did you learn that? You haven't been snowboarding at all. And you're like, I don't really know. I just been thinking about it and I could feel it in my mind that it would work, and it
I've
would.
done
So
it 75 times in my head. That's how, right?
yeah, or 1,000 times in my head. And that's how.
There you
So good. So let's talk a little bit about just some trends in real estate real quick before we wind this down. So what are some significant trends that are happening in real estate right now? Are you an investor in any multifamily, or do you just sell single family homes through Keller Williams, or what's your real estate
No,
background?
no, no, no. So we have a big resi sales team. So that's one of my big pillars. I do some real estate investing too. I recently bought a farm. Tried to turn that into a weddings and event space. I had some Airbnbs too. So I've done some investing. I do investing. But I've also started an acquisitions company, off market acquisitions company too. Just because it's the reality is, man, I know that there's always, and when you talk about trends, right, the one trend that's always consistent is people want to find deals. Investors want to find deals. People love off market deals, right? So if you can find deals, you will ride the trend that has always been happening forever, right? That trend's never going to change. People are always going to want deals. So we started a sister off market acquisitions company, which has been pretty cool too, which then feeds our residential sales business. But I mean, what's going on around here in South Jersey? Very low inventory, brother. Very low inventory and a lot of buyers, which is why it's even more important, right, to find and prospect off-market deals. So that's one of the trends now: low inventory and a ton of buyers up in the South Jersey market. In Philadelphia, a lot of parts of Philadelphia actually have. There's still a lot of inventory in Philly. That's a little bit of a different beast, but again, Philadelphia is a huge investment opportunity because there is so much new development happening. It's called, gentrification. The trendy word is. So Philadelphia still has so much opportunity for new construction that's happening at a wild pace in Philadelphia. But yeah, man, that's a trend over here in Jersey for the most part is low inventory, a lot of buyers, and which is why we're always trying to find creative ways to find off market deals to help our buyers, to help our investors too.
Yeah. So looking forward, what do you see as the biggest opportunity in real estate investing when it comes to single family or multifamily?
So, all right, the biggest opportunity. So this is one of my mentors. said this to me, and he was like, he's a very, very, very successful real estate investor. Has one of the top real estate teams in the country. His name is Brandon Brittingham. He has also. I got to connect you guys. Incredible podcast. This dude's like a unicorn when it comes to real estate, investment fund, you name it. And one of the lines that he said to me was, "It's not about timing the real. It's not about timing the market. It's the time you spend in the market." Right? It doesn't matter. Like so many people, like I'm gonna wait till it settles down and then all the deals are gonna happen. Right? Like you hear that a lot. Like I'm gonna wait till the rates go down, or I'm gonna wait till the smoke settles. And it is so true that man, it's just like it doesn't matter what you're looking for. If every day you're in the market having conversations, getting the word out, you will find the deals. That's just the reality. You're out networking with realtors, you're out networking with wholesalers, right? There's opportunities in multifamily, right? You got some people who want to just cash out. They're holding on to too many of them. Maybe they're looking to retire. So there's opportunities everywhere. It's just making sure that you're putting the time in every single day to find those opportunities and getting the word out there. And sometimes, like nowadays, it's as easy as every single day post on social media you're looking for deals. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. Like my speaking of Brandon, I mean, he tells me all the time. He's like, Devin, I raised millions of dollars just from Facebook posts, building his brand, building his authority, but complete strangers that follow me over the years, they'll come out.
Yeah.
The
That's
deals are
great.
out there. You just got to keep the time in the market, keep looking every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said Brandon Bringham, right?
Brittingham.
Brittingham. Yeah, Brandon. We work with him. I know Brandon. So yeah, he works with Kent Clothier pretty closely, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Absolutely.
he's a smart dude. He's great to have around. Well, that's awesome. So before we part ways, I'd love for you to give a listener a book or recommendation, something that has made a positive impact for you. Any recommendations you could share with our listeners?
Yeah. Okay. Um, this is one that if you a lot of people read it, but this is one that if you haven't read it, I mean, it could be extremely powerful. Um, because the reality is you can have all these goals and dreams, right? These big aspirations for your business, your life, health. But what you need to get down pat is your self mastery, right? Understanding like what it takes to truly make change and accomplish goals, and understand that a lot of times it's a lot of small things, which then takes me to um, giving you the recommendation of Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's an incredible book. Whatever goals you have, it's all about breaking everything down into small daily habits that can help you little by little, step by step, get up these big mountains. So James Clear, Atomic Habits, that can help universally with anything, professional, personal, health and fitness. That's definitely a good book that I can recommend.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate that. And thank you so much, Devin, for joining us on our show today. If our listeners want to get a hold of you, how can they reach out to you?
Awesome. So Devin DiNofa on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, Devin_DiNofa. Um, that's probably the LinkedIn, Devin DiNofa. You follow me, you'll learn everything about me from my content. You can learn about my performance coaching community, tons of entrepreneurs. I bring in incredible guest speakers every other week. Brandon was one of them. Some really cool people in there to educate and network. But yeah, Devin DiNofa or Devin, DEVIN at T as in Tom, C as in cat, S as in snake, group.com. And then lastly, my website is devindinofa.com. So just search Devin DiNofa and you'll find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Keeping It Real Estate, ladies and gentlemen. Please do us a huge favor and leave us a rating and review, as it helps us to continue to bring on great guests and provide great content. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week on another episode of Keeping It Real Estate.